everyone. So, unfortunately, we didn't have time this year to create an advent calendar. But there's one good thing, because something I wanted to talk about last year with the advent calendar, but it didn't quite fit in, are the 12 days of Christmas. Here in Austria, we call them Rauhnächte. And it's not quite certain where that expression comes from. Rau translates to rough today, but that's not what it means. It probably comes from an older German word that means hairy. So, she doesn't like the candle. It might refer to the hairy beasts and monsters that might have roamed the streets and towns during that time. If you think that sounds a bit scary, well, you're not off. In Austria, it's also the time of Perchtenläufe. It's a bit like the Krampus. So very old traditions that happen during this time of year. However, there's another theory, namely that Rauch comes from Räuchern. So you would burn frankincense or incense to clean your houses, your farm, your stable of bad spirits during that time of year. Let's catch one more. And it's still quite common here. It's one of the traditions I'm really fond of too. Here we have a mix of incense, there's some roots, some wood in there. It smells really, really nice. So there is a tradition that says that there are 12 nights of Christmas. But depending on the area that you go to, you might also find 4 nights, 4 Rauhnächte. The 21st, the 25th, or sometimes also 24th, which is the main Christmas day here in Austria. Another one is the night from the 31st to the 1st of January, and the 5th to the 6th. And it is thought that the veil between the worlds is a little thinner during those nights. You might be able to predict the future, either through dreams, or you might be able to hear an animal speak if you go into the stables during the night. Animals might be able to speak in human voices and tell you your fate. But unfortunately, that's bad luck, so it's not recommended. And if you think of it as a magical time can imagine that there are plenty of rules around what you can do and can't do. Magic's always a little dangerous as well. So while you can predict your future, you also have to be careful. You're not allowed to play cards during that time. You also shouldn't be out too long after dark. One tradition I really like is that you shouldn't do your laundry, and especially shouldn't leave it hanging during the Rauhnächte. Because if you do, the wild hunt might get caught in it, and they might carry you away in your sleep. Some people think that a lot of these traditions that we have date from a pre-Christian time, but it's hard to tell. There are very few sources on that. All we know is that the image of the wild hunt is quite common in Northern Europe. They are the souls of people who passed too early. Sometimes it's also thought that they are accompanied by horses and dogs, maybe by goats, or here in Austria by Frau Perchte or Frau Holle. You might know Frau Holle from a different story where she makes the snow. And the reason that there's some magic to those nights is because they are thought to be outside of the year. And there's some logical background to that actually. The solar calendar is a newer invention compared to the lunar calendar. Of course, if you look up at the sky, you can always see the phases of the moon, so it's easy to build your year around that. However, the lunar year is a bit too short. The Egyptians, for example, counted 12 times 30 days. That was a bit longer than usual, and they still lagged 5 days to get to 365. So they just tucked those 5 days at the end of the year, and they were kind of outside the year. In other cultures, they counted 6 months of 29 days and 6 months of 30 days. And then at the end, you like 11 days or 12 nights. And those are the 12 nights that we celebrate now, so that the time in between the years when magical things can happen. There are plenty of festivities I really like, and I generally think it's a beautiful mood. Everyone's in a festive mood, and you know, a little magic can happen. My little furry monster unfortunately didn't want to join us for this one, but maybe she'll come back for it tomorrow. Until then, I hope you have a lovely time in between the years. And if you're looking for an excuse not to do your laundry, there it is. You can leave it until next year. So for today, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.